it's PE with Coach Smith, and I wanted to come on and give some ideas for Hula Hut challenges. And I know that there have been lots of different ideas throughout the years. I do want to give a shout out to the following people because they helped me kind of figure out and tweak their ideas into what would work in my gym. So the people that I appreciate so much with their ideas are Ben Landers. He is the original, I feel like, with the Hula Hut throwdown and building the huts. Justin Cahill, I got some ideas from him, as well as Dan Tennyson and Julie Hudnall. So all of those four, thank you so much. I'm sure there's many more, but I definitely wanted to give those four a shout out because I've tweaked some of their ideas that I know came from them. So I'm gonna give you some ideas on warm-ups, challenges, as well as the way that we play Hula Hut throwdown. So let's get started. I first wanna say that any of the slides you see, I have linked below, and those are all yours to edit and change and tweak to what you need to use. I love to have the slides in my class. It helps keep me on track on what challenge is next, but it also helps sometimes have the kids have a visual of what it is they're doing. So with that being said, let's first show you the layout. I'm going to show you a layout here. Typically I like to do 4 to 5 at least on my team, but no more than 6 because then someone's left out. And I really like to keep it 4 to 5. Anyhow, they're all set up here, and then I have the hoops on the other side sitting around the same cone color of their team. I'm a big color-coded person, so that's important to me so they know exactly which set of hoops are their hoops. So let's get started on the first challenge. So the first challenge, let me say this, I moved these cones a lot closer so that they would be in the screen so you could see it, but remember, one set of hoops around a large cone on one end, and then my cones that I have here are typically at the other side of the gym. So the first one I like to call Build Your Hut. So as a team, they stand in line here, and one person runs down, gets one hoop, brings it back, places it in front of their cone. Then the next person goes, runs down, gets one hoop, and brings it back to their team. They continue that until they have all 6 hoops. So they would run down, grab one hoop, bring it back. The next person in line would run, get one hoop, bring it back until they have all 6 hoops. Now, once they have all 6 hoops, once they've got all 6, then they are going to build their hut right in front of their cone. Now, I tell them to build it, hands in the air, that way I can kind of point to them and say, oh, good job, and then I tell them to rebuild. So that's where I want to make sure that they're getting plenty of practice on this first one, especially because if you have kids that are struggling to build the hut, then all of the other challenges are going to be extremely difficult and they're going to be very frustrated. So I will tell them, whoever finishes first, great job, build again, and then I'm looking for other teams to see how often they can build it. So we do that one for about 3 minutes, just making sure that each group has built it at least 2 to 3 times, and then I will stop. Now, when we stop, now their huts, now all of their hoops, are in front of their cone, like this example here. So the next one is called a silent build. Now, all of the hoops are now in front of their cone, their starting cone. So I don't have them go get the hoops each time. It just takes too much time and there's too many challenges to get through. So now that they're here, we start with them here for the rest of the day, at least in my class. Now, so the silent build is simply, they're gonna stand up, they're gonna build it 3 times without talking. So they build it, hands off, then they break it down and they build it 3 times. That's a pretty quick one. Well, depending on how quickly they build them. But that's an easy one, and that one is called silent build. So the next one is called a tunnel challenge. Now you're gonna have your team work together to build that hut, and then you're gonna have one person at a time crawl through the tunnel. If the hut falls, then they have to work as a team to rebuild it. Now I use time for my measurement. I don't have everybody go through and then just sit, because again, I want them to practice building. And if they finish everybody quickly, then I don't mind if they go again. So you're also gonna have kids that don't wanna do this, and that's fine. I don't care if they don't wanna do it, so I will tell them whoever wants to go through the tunnel, great. You can go through the tunnel, And then you can go as many times as you can within the time limit, as long as you're taking turns. So I just walk around and make sure that everyone's had an opportunity that wants to do it at least once or twice to do it. So this one's called Tunnel Challenge. So the next one I call Move and Squat Challenge. So this one's fun because now we're gonna get to moving around with our huts. So I will have them build the hut in front of their cone. Remember, it's at the other end, but I just moved it here so you could see. So they're gonna build the hut, then they're gonna pick it up, and they have to work together. I tell them to, when you pick it up, make sure you're grabbing all the different parts, work together as a team, and they are picking up and moving it all the way down to their cone on the other end. When they get to that black line, they set it down, then they surround it, and they do 5 squats all together, counting together. Then they're going to pick the hut back up and carry it back to their start line and do it again, 5 squats. See how many down and backs you can do in the time limit. Now, a funny thing happened today that I have never seen happen is they picked up the hut, they carried it, and they held the hut thinking they had to do squats. No, you put the hut down on the line, then you let go, okay, and do your 5 squats and then pick it back up. So this is a fun one called Move and Squat. So this next one is called Cone Collector, and I use these dome cones from US Game. I love these, I use these a lot. So we just spread these out all around the court, and as you can see, they're tiny ones here. But again, this is spread out all around the court. So we use probably about 20 of them, and it just depends on how long you want this one to last. But they start at their cone, where they always start. They're going to build their hut, and then they are going to pick it up, carry it, set it over one of the domes, okay? So this is on the ground, their hut is surrounding it. They do 5 jumping jacks, okay? And then they can pick up and collect that cone. So they have one person on the team designated as the cone carrier, okay, or cone collector, and they've got to work and carry it to another cone. So maybe they're gonna go over to this one. They set it down, they do 5 jumping jacks, collect the cone, pick it up, and go to another cone and see how many cones they can collect. This is a fun one. Now I do tell them if their structure falls, maybe it's just the roof or maybe it collapses, they have to rebuild it before they can move it on. Same thing at squat, on the squat, move and squat one. If their hut falls, they have to stop and rebuild it wherever they are. But this is a fun one. This is called Cone Collector. Now the next one is called Build and Blast, and I got this from Dan Tennyson. It's awesome. Now he does his a little bit different, where you have to earn the hoops before you can build your hut. And for me, with all of the additional challenges that I do, I just did this small tweak. So they're gonna build it here on the other end. They're now standing behind their cone, and remember, that's a pretty long distance because this is a great lead up to our Hula Hut throwdown. So we're gonna stand down on this end, and then the first person in line is going to throw and knock the hut down, okay? So if it knocks down, the whole team, my whole green team, runs down and sets it back up. Then they bring the ball back, and the next person in line is the one that gets to throw next. So they loved it. It was a lot more challenging than I thought it would be for them, but 3rd through 5th did great with it, and they really enjoyed it, and it's a great lead up to our way that we play Hula Hut Throwdown. So this one is called Build and Blast. So the last challenge I started doing last year, and shout out to Julie, I saw her on X, and she did something similar with cards and challenges. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna have them build the rainbow. So I had the buckets here in the middle. Each of them have a card that's the same color. So you can see some of my huts are in the back there. I spread them out all around my gym. So again, depending on how many hula hoops you have, you can do a whole bunch of different groups, and they're very spread out. It gives them a lot of space. And the thing that I love about this is you're giving the students the choice to do the challenges in any order they want. Most of them are the same as I've already shown you, like crawling through the huts, setting it up silently. All those different ones are on those cards, and I will link the cards below that I created, but they are simply drawing a card from the middle, and coming back to their hut with their team, reading the card, and then building and doing the challenge. When they finish that card, they simply put it on by their stack, and they are building the rainbow. I tell them you can go in any order. You don't have to go in rainbow order. It's totally up to them. This is something that they have a lot of student choice on, independence, working with their groups, trying to figure out who's gonna run to the middle and get the card, taking turns, all those things. So this is something that I like to bring in second semester after I've already done all the challenges and they know how to build the huts. This is a great little warm-up that you can pull out before you do, whether it's Hula Hut Throwdown or a totally different game. But I love this option called Build the Rainbow. So I'm gonna show you my version of Hula Hut Throwdown. I just call it Hula Hut. So we have 3 on each end, as you can see here, and the same thing on the other end. So it's this team on this side versus the other team on the other side. So the way that you earn points, the first thing that I do is I have the kids seated on the back black line behind those huts, and the huts are down. And so I tell the teams, the first team that gets their huts built on the blue line, which is our volleyball court, they get their huts built and everyone is seated back on the black line, is going to earn a point. So I say, ready, set, go. They quickly work to build them. All 3 are set up and then they sit down. So that's the first way that you can kind of get them excited about the game. And so that team that gets seated has a point. Now, in this game, the object of the game is to try to get all 3 knocked down. If you are working on one, that is okay. So say this one over here gets knocked down and a group decides to hustle over and rebuild it, great. But if 2 are knocked down, that means only 1 is left. And they've got to really guard that one, because if it falls and you have all 3 down, the other team gets a point. Now, what I love about this game is, you know those never-ending games? This is one of those games that last a long time before a point is earned, most of the time. Now, 2 options I give my kids. You can play defense, which means I am standing back in front of, okay, and guarding, okay? They can block the ball, they can catch the ball, but they cannot kick the ball. If a hut falls down, they certainly can help rebuild. Now, you may have kids that they love to build, so that's something that they're gonna kind of hang back, guard maybe, but rebuilding is their thing that they love to do. Great, that's something that they can do. Now, I do tell them when they're playing defense, they gotta have their head on a swivel. They gotta be watching. They can't just talk to their friend next to them or they're gonna get hit in the face. So I tell them, is there a chance that you could get hit in the face when you're guarding back here? Yes, so just so they're aware. Another option is to play offense. And so I can pick up 1 ball at a time, and I am throwing overhand or underhand or rolling. I don't really care how they do it, but they are throwing and they are trying to knock down the pin, or not the pin, the hut of the other team. Now, we have our kids throw a rainbow throw, so it goes up over the air, up in the air. Now, I even told my co-coach today, I think having the net up might be just an extra safety thing. We make our kids throw from behind the 10-foot line, the volleyball line. I think it's the 10-foot line. Anyhow, we have them throw from behind there because they can throw really hard. So we tell them to get it up in the air or roll it on the ground, but just be mindful, you know, not to throw it like a line drive to shortstop, from shortstop to first. Anyhow, they're trying to knock down the pins. Now, if we have a hut that even has a roof, I count that as not being stable. So maybe you have a roof down, a whole hut down, and then they get the other hut. That counts, and that is where you would reset. But I love this game. It's super fun. The kids really like it. We also, with our younger kids, will split them in half and say half of them are defenders, the other half are offense, and then we'll switch so that they get an opportunity to practice both. And then we will say, okay, you get to choose what you want to do. They love it. It's Hula Hut, super duper fun, so we'll give it a try. So I hope that gave you some new ideas, maybe just 1 or 2 challenges that you can take and add to your collection, or maybe if this is something new, I would highly recommend doing it with your classes, whether you have small classes or large classes. I did want to just show you the different slides that I have, and those will be linked below, as well as the rainbow build. I will link those below as well. But special shout out again to those that helped me create and tweak some of their activities. And I hope that you will give it a try because it is so much fun, but make it a great day.